Good morning, this is Robert with Pioneer Smokehouses, and today we're going to do a simple pork roast in our Masterbuilt digital 40-inch charcoal smoker. And I just want to keep it simple. Now, one of the things I like about this roast is that it's very fatty and it will give you a lot of good flavor. So if you're starting with a brand new smoker or you're seasoning a smoker, it does not matter what kind it is, this is the way to go. A pork roast like this will add a lot of flavor to your cooker in a very short time. And also, when you're making pork roasts like this, they're very easy to use. Now, my plan is that we're going to use the pork roast as a pulled pork. So we're gonna cook it to full temperature, which means we're looking for an internal temperature of about 195. Then it'll carry over and final to about 205. So, first thing I want to do is I want to show you the basket here. So I preloaded it and I'm going to put some pictures up here. So if you look at the picture, so let's see, we'll go right here and you can see that there is a little haystack in there. Now that's not my primary method of lighting it. It calls for 2 with the directions, but I only put 1 in and then I'm going to use a chimney with some charcoal in it. So then you'll see that in the picture, you'll see some logs, some little chunks of wood in there. Now I'm trying to mix them around so I don't put them all on top. I've been putting them on top, but I find that they tend to kind of explode into flame when I do that. So if I bury them in there, they kind of burn a little bit more with the charcoal. But one key important thing is you don't want to touch them. And when you're running multiples of them, you want to run them in rows crossways so they don't go this way. Otherwise, you can light your whole charcoal box on fire all at once. The charcoal doesn't spread very fast, so it just burns through, where wood will ignite. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna take this, and today we're using half of the mesquite charcoal and half of some royal oak. And the royal oak is kind of on the bottom and the end. If you look at the picture again, you see how it wraps around? So like a C, the top is the very end here, and the bottom is where we're gonna start. So it's gonna burn in this direction. So as it burns across, it will come up and then burn across. So we want the most flavorful charcoal at the beginning. I did put a couple of matchlight charcoals underneath the haystack right there to make sure it gets good light. And then I'll put the rest of this in there. And that's the end of the bag of mesquite there. I do have some apple wood if I needed more charcoal, but I think we're gonna be okay here. So I'm gonna move a couple of these over and I'm gonna add 2 more chunks of wood just in the top here, just for a little extra flavor. Today I'm using some Weber pecan. I'm just about to the point to where I'm ready to reorder. And when I do order, I'm gonna try to find a pecan and an apple and some hickory or mesquite, one of the 2 for a strong flavor. I always like to have pecan on hand. It's my favorite wood. When you're not sure what kind of wood you need to use for your food, I have a little saying, it's when in doubt, get the pecan out. Because pecan it's so versatile and works so well. So I added a couple of those chunks there. So now let's take a look at the charcoal lighter. So we have a chimney here and you'll see this picture is on the barbecue. I like to start it on the barbecue or with a blowtorch of some sort. It's just easy. And when you're on the barbecue, you get 2 effects. You get the updraft from the heat from the burner. So as the burner is going on a medium level, it works up and burns straight up. So now I'm going to show you a picture here of that charcoal, and there's not a lot of charcoal in here. So we only need about 12 pieces. I did put match light in the very bottom, so I just put a few match lights in there and then the rest of it's the regular stuff. And once it gets going good, I can just pour it in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So now this is empty. I'm just going to set this to the side. So just again, so that last picture there is the charcoal burning really well. And then I'm going to grab my tongs and I'm going to make sure that all the charcoal is back here at the beginning of the basket. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go ahead and take a picture. When you put that charcoal in there, it almost instantly lights that haystack, which is great. And if it doesn't, what you'll want to do is you'll want to get your little mini torch out. So I'm going to go ahead and take that picture. So if you look at the picture here, just like before, you see the C, and you see that right here, you can see that it's burning. So now, this is the blowtorch here. It's a little brûlée torch, and for short lights, I like to use this one. It's really good. It's pretty accurate, and it's got an adjustment on the side, and you can turn it on or off, so that way it's family-friendly, kid-safe. So I'm going to push the button, and you can see it's going. And then if I wanted to light that, I would just go like that. And it would get that stack lit up, but it's already burning. So really, we're just trying to make sure that it's lit. If I wanted to do something for a long period, because you have to hold this button down, I would use my old lighter, which I still have. And I was using it the other day for lighting my fire in my fire pit. But it would also work really good for lighting the bottom of the charcoal lighter. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to load this in. So remember that this side could be hot, so we will go ahead and we'll just grab a regular glove. I just use canvas gloves, but I also have barbecue gloves that I use for taking stuff out. When I'm dealing with the charcoal, I don't want to mess up my barbecue gloves. So I just pick this up like this and make sure that it's all tied into position there. If you're at all uncomfortable or concerned about this, then don't light it out here. Then just put it in there, use the 2 haystacks and take your time. It can take 20 minutes or more to get lit all by itself. You put the 2 haystacks in, you light them with the blowtorch while it's sitting there, and then you just push it in all the way. So it is going. I'm going to go ahead and close this door. Both doors have to be closed for the safety to work. I'll go ahead and turn it on, set the temperature, and we're going to start it at about 235. And now it's going to go ahead and go, and what it'll do is the fan will start blowing, and it'll kick on the circulation to get that charcoal stoked up and going good. So the next thing we're going to talk about is with anything like a pork roast, and especially if your smoker's already seasoned, you're going to want some kind of drip tray. And I like to use something disposable. So you can go and you can buy like some tinfoil sheets or a cheap cookie sheet from the Dollar Tree or dollar store, and that works out pretty well. But for me, I just like to take this and fold it. Then I'll fold it here. Fold the end closed. Fold the other end closed. Now you have a tray, and all the folds are facing the same direction. If you just open it a little bit, you'll end up with a nice little tray there. Another solution is to take a box or a large object and just wrap it around the bottom of the box, and then you can just slide it right off and throw it in there. If the box is a good size match for your smoker, then you're in good shape. So for right this second, I'm just going to set this up there, and then we're going to talk about the pork roast. So this is just a standard bone-in pork roast here, and let's get a little closer so you can see it. All right, and so we'll go ahead and pop pictures up. For our seasoning today, we're using the 3211, my homemade barbecue sauce, plus our dry rub. Plus we're adding a little bit of garlic to it because I like more garlic on my pork than that. So I always start on the edges. So if you see the picture there, you'll see that I held the pork roast on the side and sprinkled on the edges first. And then you can set it down on the plate or pan and pick up the rest of your seasonings on the flat side, and then do the flat sides next. And then you can get it kind of even, you can adjust it. Now I always go a little lighter on the edges than I do on the face, because you'll get the spices from the face and the side in that same bite, so you don't want to overdo it. If you notice here, after I spiced it, I put it on a small grill mat Now I have different size grill mats for different applications. This one just happens to fit the Little Chief smokers. You just cut them with a pair of scissors. But I also have larger ones. But for this size roast, I didn't need a big one, and it'll be easier for me to throw it in the dishwasher when I'm done. So now I'm just going to open this up and set it in there. And then I'll throw the tinfoil tray directly underneath it and close the lid. Now it would be nice if this was at full temperature, so you're going to have to account for the fact that it's not at full temperature, so your cooking process really hasn't started yet. But it is going, and it will be getting the smoke flavor of that start of that burn. Now if you have like a lot of matchlight charcoal, like if you had 10 of them in there, I only have a couple. If you had a lot of those, you'd want to make sure that those were completely burned off before adding anything to it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to wait and watch this thing until it gets up to the temperature that I set it at, which is the 235. And then once it's done, then we'll be able to let it cruise. So let's take a break, and I'll go ahead and watch it, and then I'll come back and show you once we get to temperature. So we're back. It's all pretty much heated up. The fan slowed down a little bit, and it's going to slowly come up to the full temperature. As it gets closer to the target temperature, the fan actually slows down and kind of regulates it so that way it doesn't blow past it. It does, when it's first starting, blow past it a little bit, but it tries to make an attempt not to get crazy. So it just depends on how heavy you load it and how much the charcoal is going. So right now, if you look at the picture here, and don't slight me for not wiping down my smoker first, it could use a little bath, but the picture shows a temperature of 214 degrees. So it is working right up to that 235 temperature. The reason I set it at 235 is because I need it to cook above 225. So it's okay if it cooks just a little over, but I don't want it to cook under. That'll really negatively affect my cook time, and I have a certain amount of time that I need to cook this to get it up to that 195 degrees. So we're gonna take a long break, and we're gonna let it roll. Before I do, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this open and take a look inside. And yeah, it looks great. I'm gonna go ahead and snap a picture here for you. And it looks like the wood on the bottom might be actually burning, which is good. So go ahead and take a look at that picture, and I'm going to close this and get it going again. So you can see on that picture that there's just a little bit of flame coming off of it, and you know, that's normal for it. And with the wood in there, it actually makes it flame up just a little bit more. So we're going to let this thing roll for quite some time. Probably after 4 hours, I'll check it and flip the meat, and it should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in here and show you this real quick, and you can see all the smoke come pouring out. All right, so we will see you in a bit. It's been more than 4 hours now, and we're ready to check on it. Now I have checked it once, and we've been running a pretty consistent temperature here. And you see in the picture there that it's 234, and I'm looking at this and it's 233 right now, and that's really good. I have it set at 235, and so it kicks on and off right around that range. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop in and take a little look inside here. And it's up to the corner now, so I don't want to have that open too long. Now I'm gonna go ahead and open this top up here, and I'm just going to pull this open a little bit, get a look at that. I'm going to go ahead and take a real quick picture here. Now I want you to look at that picture, and you'll see that the bone is standing a little proud there, so it's really starting to pull out, just like when you're cooking anything else, like ribs or whatever. As it gets more well done, the bone will start to stick out a little, and then when you push on it, it'll kind of separate, and the back side is pretty loose. Front side is still pretty firm. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip that over. I just love these grill mats. They are awesome. All right, I'll go ahead and close that back down again. I'm going to pop up just a little bit more smoke. I don't know if it'll make a difference or not, but we'll go ahead and do that. I got a couple of chunks of wood here, just smaller size ones. All right. So now the temperature is reading 218, and the fan should kick back on here in a second and start stoking it up a little bit. So we'll go ahead and let it roll until it's just about done, and if anything changes before then I'll see you then. If not, we'll be letting it go for a while. All right, well, here we are, and we're just about done. So it's ready to pull, and I just checked the temperature, and it's running about 190. I'd like to go a little bit hotter than that, but we're kind of out of charcoal here. So I'll go ahead and pop the picture up here I just took of the inside, but I want to get up here really close and show you, and you can see that there's juice running right in there. So it's nice and juicy, and it still needs to rest, but I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece off anyway. And look, when I push the knife down, look at that, it just falls out. That's awesome. And that hasn't even rested yet. So I'm going to take a little piece right here off the end, which is a really flavorful piece. I really like that. It's hot. That's really good. I'll grab another little piece here. So you can see how the fibers are broken down like that, and they're going like just literally just crossing out like that. That's perfect. So I'll let this rest for a little bit, and then I'll break it apart. I'll just use 2 gloves and pull the thing apart. And then what I'll do is mix a touch of barbecue sauce and put it on some buns. What I'm gonna do is I'll take some pictures. So first of all, here's the roast broken down, and then I'll mix some barbecue sauce in it, and I'll throw it on a bun here for you to take a look at. So directly below, you're going to see 2 different articles. One is going to be the review for this, for the Masterbuilt 40-inch charcoal digital smoker. The other one is going to be an article on pork roast. And then below that, you'll see affiliate links. If you use those links, I will get compensated, so thank you. I appreciate you watching and checking out my little pork roast here. So have a great day.